Hi everyone, Peg O'Sullivan here from the Tralee Springboard Project, and today I bring you Module 5 of Scared Kids from Anoka Learning and Dr. David Coleman, and it's called Walk in My Shoes. So today we look at children's emotional understanding and how that has an impact on their anxiety. If we go back to our CBT model of thinking, feeling and behaviour, then this model is helping children make sense of their feeling. So we're focusing on feelings today. So the aim of this is to allow you to become more aware of how anxious feelings can get bottled up and the impact that that is going to have on the child's eternal emotional world. The other thing we're going to look at is what does empathy look and sound like when you're using it with the children, because that's a tool that can guide us and help them through matching up what they are feeling with what's going on around them. So the event that happened to the feeling and helping them to link feelings to certain events. So if we go back to looking at our upstairs and downstairs brain, so your downstairs brain is going to respond to the emotion, and then the upstairs brain is going to come in and try to understand it and describe it using words and maybe linking it to other things that have happened. So when we get a feeling that is very powerful or very strong or unpleasant, a feeling we don't like and we don't want, sometimes what we can do is we can push the feeling down or bottle the feeling up. So if you can imagine inside in your internal emotional body that you have an empty bottle, and every time you push a feeling down, you're putting it into this bottle. Now this can happen several times, and each time we bottle up the feeling, the bottle just keeps filling up and filling up. So when an adult gets involved with a child that becomes upset and we reject the child's feeling, well, that causes them to bottle up the feeling. So by saying to a child who's coming in, a child is apt to come in and they're upset about something, and we respond by saying, come on now, there's no need for tears, you're fine, don't be doing the drama. So we don't recognise whatever it is that led them to being upset. So we're not doing it because we want to be mean, obviously. We don't want them to be upset. So we try to just give it a quick fix, and by saying we are fine, we've actually done nothing to help them understand what the emotion is and how it relates to the experience. So when the feeling gets bottled up, it gets added to, and it gets added to all other feelings, and they all get muddled up, and the child can't understand what the feelings are because we're not labelling them, describing them, relating to them. We're just fixing it by saying, you're fine, don't worry about it, it's grand. So all those little feelings being bottled up are now becoming one big feeling inside in the bottle. And often that feeling has to be released. It needs to get expressed. And usually it gets expressed as either anger or fear. So when the bottle needs emptied, when it's absolutely full, the smallest little trigger could trigger a response from a child that doesn't match what you've just said to them. So you've heard the saying, the straw that broke the camel's back. So the child has all the emotions built up, and then the bottle is full, they can't tolerate anymore. So the smallest little thing could trigger them and they could have a massive anger outburst. So the aim is to help our children to understand the feelings and link it then to the experience that they're having. And the tool to do this is empathy. So what does empathy mean? Empathy means putting yourself in the other person's shoes and seeing the world as they see it. So we try to look at the child's perspective, how they might be thinking and feeling when we're using empathy with children. Again, you can use this for teenagers, you can use it with adults. So when we're doing it with children, we have to do it through our words and our actions. Okay, so they have to hear it and they have to see it. It has to be genuine. So soothing and reassuring tone of voice. Maybe being tactile, a hug, patting the back, rubbing their arm. And for children, don't ask too many questions because often they just don't have the answer to it. So instead we use empathy statements. And they allow us then to try and guess what we think is going on for the child. So don't label it and say, oh, you're very angry now, because they mightn't be angry. In fact, they might be frustrated, they might be annoyed, they might be upset, they might be sad. So we try and guess. So guessing sounds like, well, I wonder if you feel scared. or it sounds like you're very worried. It feels to me that that is overwhelming for you right now. So we're kind of guessing and we're giving them words. So what we're doing then is we're helping them to connect what they are feeling, and then we can link it to what's actually going on around them. One thing parents or caregivers want to do is they want to take away their pain. The reality is we live in a world where our children are going to grow up to be teenagers and young adults, where they're going to be in situations we can't protect them. They're going to be in situations where we're not going to be around to make things okay for them. So the best thing you can do for your child right now at a young age is get them to try and figure out how to manage all of this stuff that's going on. And the only way you'll be able to do that is by not rushing in and fixing it for them, empathizing with them and helping them to understand feelings and situations around them. And they can only do that if we teach them how to understand and process what they're feeling. It's an absolute gift you give to your children. So thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week when we do the next session.